If you want to learn how to do an aerial, then this is the routine for you. All you need is a bit of space to follow along, so let's go ahead and get started.
There's no need to complicate things. Let's stick to the basics.
Before learning an aerial, it's important that you're stretched out. So first we're going to do some stretches, starting with a lunge going down as deep as you can. You don't necessarily need to be super flexible to get your aerial, so it's totally fine if your lunge looks like the modification on the left side. This is just a super quick 2-minute stretch routine, so don't skip this part because it's super important. And if you want to stretch for longer, I'll leave another stretch routine linked in the description. We are now going to do the lunge on the other leg.
Till tomorrow, so I'm down a trip with you. Leading no follow, lead us till tomorrow, so I'm down me.
Next, place your legs in as wide of a straddle as you can do, and then reach one arm over to the leg opposite to it. Now reach to the other side.
Tonight, let go as a dreaming. I was feeling down low, you just brought me straight up. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh, we're higher than the ceiling.
You can now get out of your straddle and then roll out your ankles.
You just brought me straight up. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. So won't you let me trip with you? Leading no follow.
Now roll and stretch out your wrists as well.
Trip with you. Leading no follow. Lead us till tomorrow. So I'm down me. So
Now that we're stretched out a bit, we're going to move into the steps of getting your aerial. But before we do that, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and also subscribe if you're new for new videos every Saturday. First, place your hands on the ground and practice kicking the leg that normally goes up first when you cartwheel, up as high as you can. We are going to do 10 of these kicks, and you definitely don't have to be kicking your leg up as high as I'm demonstrating. Just try to kick it up as fast and hard as you can, because the faster you kick up your leg when doing the aerial, the easier it will be to flip over.
I wanna be with you.
Next, we are going to warm up 5 cartwheels. Since an aerial is basically a cartwheel without hands, it's important that you can already do a good cartwheel before attempting your aerial.
I wanna be with you. Let's go tonight. Maybe you can stay the night. I wanna be with you. I wanna be. Don't let this go tonight.
Next, we're going to do 10 backwards kicks, except this time in a standing position. And I want you to focus on keeping your chest up while kicking your leg as hard as you can, because when you start your aerial, you want to focus on keeping your chest lifted to make it as high as possible.
Don't let this go tonight. Maybe you can stay the
The next step is similar to the last one, except this time add a straight leg step before kicking your leg back, as this additional step will help give you more power when going into your aerial. Try to think of this step as a small kick before putting all of your power into the backwards kick, because the backwards kick will be when you're starting your flip. Also, I know I am moving through things pretty quickly in this routine, so if at any point you feel like you need a breather, feel free to pause the video for a few minutes, and then start it back up once you feel ready.
I wanna be with you. I wanna be with you. Don't let this go tonight. Maybe you can stay the night. Don't let this go tonight.
add a hop to each kick again to get more power when going into your aerial. We are going to repeat this 10 times as well so you can get used to the motion before we add any flips. When landing the second kick, you should naturally be a little leaned forward, as this will be the direction you're going in your aerial. On your first kick, your arms should be up, and then when you kick your leg backwards, you want to swing your arms back as hard as you can so that your arm motion can help flip you over as well.
What's your story? What's your sign? It's like we're twin flames in a different life. Deep connection lights a spark. It's like you know me in the depths of my heart. We're dreaming.
After we are finished with this step, we're going to add a one-handed cartwheel to your jump. When doing these one-handed cartwheels, try to jump into it, and the arm that is not touching the ground swing back like you would in an aerial. We are going to do 5 of the one-handed cartwheels before we try to remove that hand.
Something about how we dance in the moonlight, that look in your eyes, it tells me that you want me and all my loving. We come alive in the nighttime, you and I, we come alive.
Finally, give your 5 best attempts of not placing your hands on the ground to do a full aerial. It's completely normal if you still touch the ground for a few seconds when trying this step. Just keep coming back to do this routine until eventually you feel ready to not place your hands on the ground. For best results, I recommend doing this on a regular basis, so at least 3 times a week until you get your full aerial.
We're dreamers. We're living.
If you found any of the steps in this routine a bit confusing or just like some more tips on how to do them, I have another aerial tutorial linked in the description. That video is not a follow along routine, but it does give a couple more tips and explains the steps of this routine in a bit more detail. So I definitely recommend watching that video before you do this routine next time. I hope this routine helps you get your aerial, and here's today's flexibility transformation feature.